Hi Aries, welcome to Sweet Tea Astrology and Tarot. My name is Erica. Welcome to the channel. I'm so glad that you found me. This is your March 2017 Astrology, Tarot, and Oracle card forecast. I intend on pulling 4 tarot cards for you. I'll pull the bottom card and the top 3 for clarity. If any other cards happen to fall out while I'm shuffling, I will address those as it happens. I'm also going to pull a card from the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck by Elena Fairchild. The artwork is by Autumn Sky Morrison. I'm also going to pull a new Crystal Mandala Oracle card for you from Elena Fairchild. The artwork is by Jane Marin. The Crystal Mandala Oracle is a new deck that I received, and I really love it. I think I'm going to be using it a lot more. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into what's going on for you, Aries. Why don't you sit a spell so we can talk about your stars? We're going to start off the month of March with Venus pretty much going station retrograde. Station retrograde is basically going to appear like Venus is standing still in the sky. I'm not going to go over what Venus or Venus retrograde means because I've talked about it at length in a different video. I will have that information bubble link up above for you to watch for more in-depth information about Venus retrograde, because that's just a part of what will be going on during the month of March for you. But we will be hosting, I say we because I have a sun in Aries. I was born April 16th. We as Aries will be hosting this Venus retrograde. Venus will tiptoe from Aries back into Pisces. That's our 12th house. And then move back again into the 1st. And then she will go forward. Venus will be retrograde starting March 3rd or 4th, depending on where you live on the planet. Venus is the planet that represents love, beauty, harmony. It also represents money and resources and the things that you value. So, check those videos out if you haven't yet. Now, moving on. March 9th or 10th, depending on where you live on the March. I think I said March as opposed to Mars. Anyways, if I misspoke, it is dealing with Mars. But March 9th or 10th, depending on where you live on the planet, Mars, the planet of energy, impulse, and aggression, moves into Taurus. This is our second house. The second house is the house of mine. That's how I like to think of it. It's the house of our values, earning ability, self-esteem. It's our money. It's our possessions. Anything you could point to, identify, put a sticker on with that has your name on it, property of, or introduce as mine. That could be relationships, children, pretty much anything that you would say, this is my, fill in the blank, would classify, in my opinion, as a second house item. So Mars moving into the second house could be that there's a lot of energy, impulse, or aggression dealing with your resources. It could be that you are aggressively reassessing your money and values because of this Venus retrograde. That's just one way that that could play out for you, Aries. Now, on the 11th or 12th of March, depending on where you live on the planet, we will be experiencing a full moon in Virgo. This is your 6th house. And don't be surprised if you are addressing issues or emotions surrounding possible worry, anxiety, or judgment. Virgo is a very analytical sign. It is ruled by Mercury. You could be fretting or worried about some sort of communication or communicative situation. You could be anxious about something dealing with communication. That 6th house is the house that's ruled by Virgo. That's why it's a Virgo full moon. But that's the house of your work and health, or the competency and skills that you bring to the services that you provide. It also deals with your daily life, the things that you do on a daily basis to make your life easier. It's the daily to-do list, the daily grind, and the things that you do, like I said, to make your life more efficient and easier to deal with. Full moons usually bring about they illuminate situations, so it could be an emotional time for you in the house of work or health. Now, on the 13th or 14th of March, depending on where you live on the planet, Mercury, the planet of thought, movement, and communication is moving into Aries. This is the signaling of the beginning of our birthday season, Aries. Mercury moving into the first house could mean that you are doing just a lot more communication, or dealing with more communication. You could be doing a lot more traveling as well, dealing with people wanting to have your attention in some way. You could be doing a lot more thinking as well. Starting to be about midterm time for students. I know that I will be focusing on midterms at around that time, so fingers crossed that I can do this series and then turn right back around and get your mid-month videos out before midterms. Fingers crossed on that. Anyways, now on the 20th or the 21st of March, depending on where you live on the planet, the sun is moving into Aries. This is our first house. The first house is the house of ourself. It's the house of the physical embodiment of who we are, and it's how the world sees us. It is our personality, our appearance, and our physical body. So, it will also be the day of the spring equinox, the beginning of spring for us in the northern hemisphere. So, happy birthday, Aries, to all of the early Aries-born rams of the zodiac. We are the beginnings of the new year on the astrological wheel. Now, on the 27th or 28th of the month, we are going to be experiencing a new moon in Aries. This will occur once again in the first house. So it's a good time for you to plant a seed if you're wanting to focus on your personality, focus on your physical body, or focus on your appearance in some way. Now, if I were you, I would just start considering it. I would not make any moves until Venus goes into station direct. This is after the retrograde because, like I said, you are going to see beauty and the things that you value through different eyes, through a different lens, through a different perspective during this Venus retrograde. That's why it is happening. So, be careful with your wanting to get a new makeover for your birthday. And the things that you purchase now, you may look back and say, what the hell was I doing? Forewarned is forearmed, y'all. So what I'm going to do now is transition over to the cards. What I'm going to do is shuffle my tarot cards first. I've cleansed and cleared these decks. I do it before every reading, but I don't reiterate that dear enough. So... oh, you had a card fall. So we're going to use that. Any card that falls signals that it's time for me to cut the deck, but I also use the card that fell. It will not be one of your four, so it's an extra card. In Louisiana, we call that lagniappe or a little something extra. So you've got that card. Bottom card, and I will pull the top three for clarity. Okay. And now I'm shuffling the Crystal Mandala Oracle deck by Elena Fairchild. And I feel a sneeze coming on, so if it happens, I apologize, but I'm fighting it with everything that I have. All right. Your card fell. And finally, from the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck, I'm going to cut this Oracle deck and pull your card. Alright, Aries, now what I'm going to do is hit the pause button, flip these cards over, do the tarot math, and I'll be right back with your story. Hang tight, y'all. Hi, Aries, I'm back with your cards, so let's get started. I'm also trying a different layout, or a different viewing perspective for y'all, so let me know if you like it or not. The card that fell while I was shuffling was the Six of Pentacles. The 6 for me is representative of the 6th house on the astrological wheel, and that is the house that is ruled by Virgo. Virgo is also where we will be experiencing that full moon on the 11th or 12th of the month. The 6th is the house of work and health, or competency and skills that you bring to the services that you provide. It's also your daily agenda and your daily to-do list, the things that you do to make your life easier. The 6th, well, all of your cards came in reverse, so I feel like you are definitely introverted and focusing on the issues at hand for you, and it will become more apparent as we go through this spread. The Pentacles are representative of the earth signs. The earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Now we have Mars moving into the 2nd house, which is Taurus for us, and the 6th house is ruled by a earth sign. The Pentacles represent the resources that we have in our world. This is money, resources. Resources could be love, time, energy, devotion, anything that you would expend on another living thing or situation or cause that is important to you. I feel like there is going to be, for some of you, either the need for balance between work and like your work-play ratio. There also may need to be a balance between paying attention to your work and your health. For some of you, it may involve a Libra because there are scales on this card as well. And whenever I see the scales, I do think of Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is going retrograde. And that could be very symbolic for some of you Aries out there. You may be dealing with a Libra in some way. You've got Jupiter transiting through the 7th house, and that's the house of Libra as well. So, but anyways, this is the first card that fell. I feel like this is peppering and tempering the rest of the reading for you. It looks like you are focused on money or your health. Your health is a resource. Without your health, you can do nothing else. Could be dealing with a Libra or finding balance in your work health experience. Whenever I see this card, in general, I think of it as a card of charity and benevolent giving, and also understanding that it doesn't take much for you to be on the receiving end of bad fortune sometimes. So when you have it good, remember where you came from and put some away so you can take care of yourself if there's a rainy day. But also understand that sometimes it's nothing more than bad luck that ends people where they're at. Yeah. So, the bottom card in your reading, the underlying theme or overarching energy, is the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. And this card is, well, the 5 is the house of Leo. That is the house of sparks and your I think of it as the sparks of love, the sparks of creation. But it's the house of your pleasure, your social life, your children, and your creation. The things that you create if you're an artist. The Pentacles, once again, earth sign energy. Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. And we've got that full moon in Virgo, and we've got Mars moving into the 2nd house. So it could be that you are aggressively looking at your finances or your values or the things that you value, possibly your health, and seeing that you need to pay more attention to it, that there has been some serious slack in some areas. I know I've not been paying attention to my health, and like I said earlier, I'm an Aries sun. This card is a card of lack, poverty, feeling out in the cold. I also see this sometimes as a dark night of the soul card. Another thing that I think of when I see this card is a card of inequality, and what I mean by that is, inequality of experience, I guess would be better. this individual is going through the same thing that this person's going through, but their perspective is going to be completely different because the person in the red cape is looking down at the ground. And, pardon me, the individual with the crutches is injured and they're struggling just to make it, just to be able to make it through the snowstorm that's going on, much less, everything else. They're looking up. Their perspective is different as well. So even though they're going through the same thing, the perspective of each individual in that circumstance will be different. So it's really a cautionary tale of not trying to compare your story to everyone else's story is something big that I'm seeing right now, especially in social media. People are, and this is, I guess, a critique on all of us, but people from one side of a political standing in America says that it's time for people to get over certain things, and people from the opposite side or the other side of the political leanings is saying that they shouldn't get over it because the very things that they're being told to get over, the other people were bitching and griping and complaining about for the last 8 years. So, hypocritical on both sides. I could critique both sides and go on, but this isn't a debate tournament, so I will spare y'all from that. But it could be that you are feeling like there's a loss in some way in your money or your resources devoted towards those fifth house endeavors. It could be that you have decided that for whatever reason you're not going to spend as much going out, or you're not going to focus as much on your social life or seeking pleasure. It could be that you are deciding to go on a diet. This could be an actual food restrictive diet, a caloric diet. It could be that you're wanting to fast, or it could be that you need to cut back because your finances are indicative that you may be spending a little bit too much. And with Venus being in your sign for as long as she's being there, it could be that you are overspending and not realizing that you're doing it. And that is kind of an energetic impulse that Venus can have on you. So, and it may affect a Leo in your world because it's that fifth house. You may be dealing with a Leo or share a bank account with a Leo, and they may be pissed off because you're spending more than you normally do. The first card in the top three for clarity, and this may be why you're spending more, is the Devil. The Devil is also in reverse. The Devil is the 15th card of the major arcana. Don't freak out. It's just a picture on a card. It's representative of the zodiac sign of Capricorn. Now, Capricorn rules the 10th house. The 10th house deals with your career, your status, your reputation. It deals with authorities and your destiny. Sorry, I jumped a little bit. Zoe's just right out of camera frame. I thought she was asleep, and when she shook her little head and her ears flapped, and it scared the snot out of me. Sorry. But yeah, the Devil card represents Capricorn, that 10th house. I like to think of the 10th house as a quote by William Shakespeare. He said, "All the world is a stage," and I like to think of the 10th house as the stage that you approach the world on, and it's how the world knows you. This Devil card, aside from being representative of Capricorn or the 10th house, being the 15th card of this major arcana portion of the tarot deck, 1 plus 5 is 6. That's once again looking at that full moon in the 6th house, dealing with worry, anxiety, or judgment possibly. In areas dealing with work or health, possibly dealing with the competency and skills that you bring to the services that you provide, or dealing with your daily life. It could be something that you do on a daily basis that just is not good for you, and it is impacting your career, your status, or your reputation in some way, Aries. We've got Pluto transiting that 10th house. Pluto deals with deep transformation and deep renewal. And it could be that there has been just astrologically, a lot of transformation in that 10th house for you, of career, status, and reputation. Your reputation and your status are things that can be changed throughout time. Not only like going from a miss to a Mrs. You could be a father going from just being you to a senior, and now they're being a junior. You could be married, going to divorced, or separated. Anything. It runs the gamut. But that Pluto transition through the 10th house is it's like coastal erosion. It's something that's occurring at all times, but you don't recognize it until you get a meta perspective or like a before and after where you really get to see how much has gone on, how much has changed. This card in the reverse, it could be that you are dealing with or confronting addictions. It could be that you are trying to get over something or stop doing something that may not be good for you. Which would be wonderful, because anything that will that you consider an addiction, especially since it's presenting in the reverse with all of these other reversals, it's like it's impacting your resources. And once again, health is a resource, but money also. So that day to day. The next card is the Queen of Cups. This is a feminine water sign. She is instinctive. She is intuitive. She's empathic. But in the reverse, she's moody. She could be escapist. She may be spending a lot of money trying to escape her feelings. I say her because it presents as a female in the Queen card, but it's a feminine type energy. The water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And we just had that solar eclipse in Pisces, and it was dealing with Neptune, very closely conjunct with Neptune. Neptune is the planet that deals with nebulousness, illusion, imagination, and also addiction. So it could be that you are spending a lot of money on, if it's not you, it's a partner, but a lot of money possibly on alcohol, because the Cups cards definitely speak to alcohol for me. But just escapist, whatever it is that you do to escape reality. If it's not drugs or drug seeking, there are other means of escaping reality. But it looks like it's feminine energy, and it's either tied to a Scorpio, Pisces, or a Cancer, or it's dealing with that solar eclipse in Pisces. And we did have the lunar eclipse in Leo as well. So that, when I said dealing with a Leo, it could be speaking to the lunar eclipse that we had in Leo earlier in February. And those eclipses have a 6-month duration time of effect. But the Queen of Cups is, in the upright, she's possibly psychic. But the fact that she's in reverse, and especially with the Pentacles cards and the Devil showing up, I really feel like it's dealing with the spending or expenditure of money, resources, or the like on escapist-like tendencies or things that you do to escape. If it's not you, like I said, it's someone close to you. But the final card is the Page of Swords, and it's like you are either not being honest about it, or the person who is being escapist about it is not being honest about it, or they may not realize what they're doing, because this cloud right here next to the head indicates being foggy or nebulousness, unclear, unsure, uncertain of what is going on. Whenever I see a Court card in the Swords suit in reverse, it could also indicate possible misrepresentation of the facts, either through deceit or even lying. I don't want to say this person is lying to you or that you are lying, but it could be that you're lying to yourself, or someone is deceiving themselves about something. It could be that someone is deceiving themselves about how much they are focusing, expending on an addictive thing, on whatever this addictive, escapist type energy in that Capricorn as well. It could be dealing with a Capricorn. But the swords also indicate air signs. That could be a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. I did mention a Libra earlier with the scales that showed up. The scales are the glyph symbol of the Libras out there. So it could be involving a Libra. Doesn't have to be, but it could be. You've got, like I said, Jupiter in the house of Libra as well. So it could be that somebody is... These court cards are also viewing the situation from a subjective point of view, meaning that they are not looking at it from a normal or rational point of view. They're looking at it from their point of view. So if you aren't in any way empathic or tuned into what they're feeling or what they're thinking. It could be that they're acting completely strange or completely unreal. Once again, like I said, you're under the influence of this Venus retrograde, so things are looking different to you. All of these cards are in reverse, so it's either impacting or affected by the eclipses that we just dealt with, and in tangent with the Venus retrograde that's going on for us as well. Now, I added up the numbers of the cards at the top, and it totaled 226. 2 plus 6 is 8, and that speaks to the Scorpio-ruled house of life, death, and rebirth, or birth. It's the house of instincts. This can be your primal, basic, or human instincts. This is a house of other people's money. It's the house of regeneration, transformation, or metamorphosis. Think like a butterfly. It's also the house of sexuality. And that's interesting because Aries is playing host to Venus, the planet of love and relationships, beauty, harmony, and values, going retrograde for a re-examination of the things that we love, the people that we love, the projects that we love, the items that we love. All of those things. It's interesting that the numerology associated with the tarot cards would be in the house of sexuality, in the house of other people's money. Pay attention to the symbology, the bigger notions that are being presented to you in this reading. So, the total is dealing with the 8th house. You don't have any astrological energy playing out in the 8th house for you for March, but that doesn't mean that you aren't dealing with issues that are playing out in 8th house matters, like I listed earlier. So, sorry, we've got, once again, the Venus retrograde. Ask yourself, do I love this? Do I love it? Do I love them? Be honest with yourself. You don't have to speak that truth yet. Be honest with yourself before you can speak it to anyone else. But once it's time to speak it, whatever it is. So, let's move on to the oracle cards. The first card that I pulled for you is from my new Crystal Mandala Oracle by Elena Fairchild. And this is the 38th card. It is Goddess Lakshmi. I'm going to totally massacre that name. I'm sorry. Goddess Lakshmi and Dendric Agate. It deals with her golden grace. And this is a Crystal Goddess 888 card. Now, Elena Fairchild dealt with different deities and paired them with different crystals. And Miss Jane Morin did the artwork for these cards. And I'm going to give you a little bit of information about that now. The Crystal Goddess 888 numerology is indicative of mastery and power. It also speaks to authority, strength, and leadership, which can be masculine type principles, but we each have masculine and feminine energy in us. It is asking you to trust in your inner power and in your inner wisdom. This also asks you to acknowledge when you experience the divine is real. And that can be through repeating numbers and synchronicity. That can be through the thing about retrogrades that are so interesting is that you get so many messages from the universe in so many different ways. Music, even commercials, just anything that sparks that kind of daydream thought that's triggered for a reason. That synchronicity, that serendipitous daydream is there and presented to you for a reason. It's for a readdressing of an issue, reassessment of an issue. The goddess Lakshmi is bringing you blessings of enlightenment and prosperity, also beauty and good fortune. This card asks you to allow her energy to grant you bounty by opening your heart to feeling worthy of love. So it could be that there are some Aries out there that are dealing with self-worth issues or feeling issues of love or lack of love or never feeling lovable. Understand that you are offered only what your heart and soul are capable of receiving. If you think that you are only worth a certain amount, that is all that you will attract to you, Aries. Understand that blockages will open if you are trusting in the universe. And the fact that we just had the eclipses, but also this retrograde, it is also allowing for blockages to be opened. And these blockages opening are going to create endings in some areas, but those endings have to occur for new beginnings to be brought forth. Understand that if this is a fated situation or a fated occurrence, the blockages are going to open regardless of your trust or not. And the farther you are from the path that you should be on, the more it will hurt as you are being drugged back to it. Trust and believe. 3 plus 8 is 11. This was the 38th card of the Crystal Mandala Oracle deck. And the 11 speaks to the 11th house on the astrological wheel. You aren't having any astrological energy in the 11th house. But what's interesting is the 11th house is ruled by Aquarius. So you may be dealing with someone who has some strong Aquarian energy. Or you may be dealing with the ruler of Aquarius, which is Uranus, the planet Uranus. Uranus is actually transiting through Aries, and that is been a long transit that has gone on and will continue to go on for a couple of more years. But Uranus is known as the planet of change and rebellion and liberation, but it's also the planet of shocks and surprises, and it rules electricity. So you could have been dealing with some pretty shocking things throughout the last few years, Aries. I know I definitely have. The 11th house also deals with your friends, your groups, your future wishes, goals, and dreams, your bucket list. It's the memberships, groups, and associations that you belong to. And it's also the house of the internet. So there may be bounties and blessings coming forth in enlightenment or prosperity or beauty or finding good fortune, maybe through the internet or through your friends or through an 11th house matter. Now, the final card that I pulled for you is the 31st card of the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck. This is the Trust Yourself card, and there are a lot of different animals on this card. I'm trying to hold it at an angle to where you can see the artwork. If you are able to focus in on an animal in this deck, if you want to Google the Sacred Rebels Oracle and look for the 31st card for a better picture, by all means do that. But look up the spirit animal, the one that sticks out to you. Look up the animal totem meaning for that. You are drawn to that animal for a reason. So, there's that. This is the card. Well, 3 plus 1 is 4, and that could be dealing with a Cancer. The 4th house is the house of home and family, or roots and foundations. But this card is asking you to trust yourself. It reads, trust yourself. It is an oracle of confirmation that you are experiencing a tremendous growth cycle right now. But understand that there are times that you can, I'm sure that there are a lot of Aries that are like, yeah, I hear it, growth, whatever. Well, growth sometimes takes a long time before you can even see that it's happened, before anything can even be acknowledged. Think about how long it takes to make a tree grow from a seed. You have to plant that seed, and then it becomes a seedling. And then you have to transplant that seedling into a pot, and then that pot into a bigger pot, and then into the ground. It takes a long time for that process. It takes a lot of energy for that process. Now, I told you that this could be dealing with a Cancer and that it could be dealing with fourth house stuff. The moon rules Cancer. And like I said, we just had a lunar eclipse in Leo, and that's your fifth house. You may need to trust yourself in that fifth house area. This card indicates that right now is the time for you to trust yourself and not to overthink things. The universe has really been guiding you all along, and you should follow your instincts now more than ever. And that's really kind of synchronistic to the tarot reading that led to the numerology of the number 8, because that's dealing with the house of instincts. Primal instincts. Funny how these animals are right here telling you to trust yourself. This card also indicates that you really should not avoid any sore spots or any parts of your life that are unstable right now. Those are the areas that you need to look at. Those are the areas that need examination, because the instability is it's a growing pain, indicating that pruning may be necessary. And this is, you need to assess the areas of instability, and that includes the things that you treasure the most. Valued relationships or long projects that you've worked on. You may need to reassess them. If you're putting more energy into them than what you're receiving back, and it's been that way consistently for a while, it may be time that you need to prune that away from you. That pruning is a part of growth. You have to do that so you can continue to grow. Release what is no longer viable to you, because it's for your highest good. And that could be something dealing with your home. That could be dealing with your family. That's not to say abandon anyone, but it could be that you need to release childhood issues. It could be that you need to release parental disagreements. It could be that you need to just let go of political leanings and understand that your family is your family regardless. If it is harming you, if it is hurting you, if it costs you more than what it is giving you, then it is time for you to re-examine it. That's what Venus is giving you in this gift of the retrograde through Aries throughout this spring season. So, Aries, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you already have, I thank you from the bottom of my very grateful heart. I hope you enjoyed the layout, or the new layout that I'm trying out. I have read many people concerned that they could not see the cards, so I'm trying to address that as best as I can with what I have available to me. If you found value in this reading, please feel free to hit the support button, and whatever you feel like supporting me with, I'll gladly take it. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. Just don't be hateful, y'all, because I don't have time for that. I hope you're well. Please take care of yourself. Please be kind to yourself, Aries, and save some of that kindness for others, because we're all going through private battles in our world some of us may never speak about to another living soul. I'll see you for the mid-month readings. That full moon's going to be intense, so please just take care. Until then, or until next time, namaste and bye, Aries.